Hey guys, I'm Steve Ludwig, the insurance man, and today I'm going to talk to you about some of the hidden secrets of high-risk auto insurance, SR-22 specifically, and what people's beliefs are of what they should be doing when they have an SR-22 that's required and when they cross over into that normal to high-risk auto insurance. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people when they end up getting a DUI, which ultimately causes that SR-22. A lot of times you have where a potential client will come to me and they'll be like, well, I'm just going to go down to my good neighbor or good hands agent down the street. I've known them for 10, 15 years. They've helped my family. They've done a lot of things where that person, has ultimately gained the trust of that customer. The thing is with it is that's not the right kind of business for a captive agency. When you have a captive agent, they're looking for more of the standard or preferred kind of business. They're not looking for that DUI or an SR-22. So as soon as you go to that agent, as soon as you mention that you have that and the agent reports that now back to the insurance company, what happens is that company will ultimately, it doesn't matter if you've been there 10, 15, 20 years, it doesn't matter, they will cancel you. So what we recommend is that you come to a high-risk auto insurance company that specifically specializes in the SR-22 filings. And I'll tell you why that's so important, because what you're going to get into is some of the tricks and the trades of that particular business. The high-risk auto agency that you deal with should have things like they should know which companies to be able to go to. They should be licensed in these different states. They should also make sure that they file electronically with each of the different state bodies. Now, I know my company, what we have is we belong to the ALER system for each particular state. So where a person might be waiting 24 hours or maybe even longer, we can actually send our agents in there into the ALER system, enter in what is necessary, and then everything is filed within 5-10 minutes. So a common misinterpretation, a person will come to me and say, well, I can save a few bucks. I'm just looking for the cheapest thing. If I had a nickel for the time, every time that a person has said that to me, the thing is with it is that saving 10, 15, 20 bucks really is, you're going to spend a lot more money in the long run. If you think it's expensive to work with a professional, wait till you work with somebody that doesn't know what the hell they're doing. The thing is with it is that there is essentially a delicate dance that has to be done. So first we mentioned about not going to a preferred agent like Allstate, State Farm, American Family, Farm Bureau, those kind of companies that they only really represent one company. Those are captive agents. You don't want to go to that kind of an agent because that's not the business that they're trying to be able to bring in-house. They're trying to be able to get a different kind of business, the autos that there's no incidents or anything on there, the homes, that kind of thing. One of the reasons why I got into this business is because I was formerly a client that was seeking to get an SR-22. I was treated unfairly. I was talked down to. I was treated like I had leprosy or something, all because I made one mistake and I got a DUI. So I've seen this from the opposite end, and what I swore is that I would not let that happen to anybody in the future, that I was going to change the market completely, and that I was going to be able to make sure that the experience was positive, that everybody got a good and pleasant experience, and that we took care of everything along the way. So we mentioned, again, that when you file with the ALER system, it's important because not every agency is set up to be able to file immediately in that system. So it's important to have those things. Another thing is that the renewal is extremely important, and specifically not working with like the cheapest company that's out there, okay? And the reason why is because these companies are not set up properly and agencies are not set up properly to be able to make sure that your renewal goes smoothly. So you have states like Ohio. Okay, so Ohio, if you stop at any point in time or you lapse on your SR-22, the clock ultimately, it starts over. So imagine you have to carry this 2 or 3 years and then you're down to the final month and you think everything's taken care of, and your insurance company that you saved 10 bucks on a month now lets your insurance lapse because they didn't process the paperwork correctly. And what ultimately happens is now you're driving and you have a police officer that pulls up behind you. And mind you that in certain states, they use color license plates. So if you've ever offended, you get a different color license plate. If you've offended more than once, you get a different color license plate. Profiling at its finest, guys. One of the things that we've devoted ourselves to is to make sure that we give you resources, because the system ultimately wants to take a stranglehold on you. They don't want you to be able to be outside of that lock. They want you to stay a part of the system, to pay money into the state, into the city. This is a moneymaker for these people, and they're going to try and keep you a part of that system as much as possible or as long as possible. They're going to try and get as much money out of you as they can. These are the truths that not everybody's going to tell you. So again, when you work with somebody that specializes in this, we go through, as a high-risk auto agency, we go through and we make sure that that renewal, a month before you're getting ready to renew, that all the paperwork is flowing properly. You have to renew that at 6 months. You have to send that up. Because we have access to each state's system, we enter that information in there. So there's no question if a police officer pulls up behind you, are you going to get flagged? That $10, $15, guess what? Now all of a sudden you get pulled over, your license is showing suspended, so you're driving on a suspended license. Now you get thrown in jail. You're going to have to post bail. You're going to have to try and come up with more money to be able to pay for a lawyer, to be able to get you out of the driving while suspended, even though the officer doesn't care that you really do have insurance. It just, the company made a mistake or the agency made a mistake. And ultimately it cost you more money in the result because you were trying to save 10 or 15 bucks. So it's really important that you take a look at this stuff, guys, because these are the things that we miss. These are the things that not everybody's going to sit here and tell you about. You might pay to make sure that you're getting good service. You might pay to make sure that everything's getting filed properly, but you know that it's getting done when you have somebody that specializes in this. It's like if I have a foot problem, I'm not going to my pediatrician, I'm not going to my dentist, I'm going to a podiatrist. Why? Because they specialize in that. If I'm getting a heart surgery, I'm not going again to my dentist or my pediatrician. I'm going to go to the heart doctor to make sure to get that surgery, to make sure that they know everything on the ins and outs of my body. It's the same thing when it comes to high-risk auto insurance, the same thing when it comes to needing that SR-22 filing. It's so important. So I don't know about you, but for me, I'm not willing to be able to risk my livelihood, my freedom, and my future to be able to save a few dollars every month on my insurance. This is a temporary policy. You should get one of these policies that's totally separated. If you have insurance currently, totally separated. You have essentially your primary insurance and you have your secondary insurance. The high-risk auto insurance would be your secondary insurance. All SR-22 is a filing with the state to make sure that if you get into an accident, you cause any kind of injury or damage to the other person's property, that you have the money to pay. And because you're now classified as high risk, they don't trust that you're going to do that on your own. So what they do is they make you get a monitored insurance policy, or AKA the SR-22, and that ultimately will pay for your property damage and bodily injury that you potentially could cause to the other driver that's out there on the road, or if you're crash into something. So again, these are things that not everybody's going to sit here and tell you. I'm trying to get down to the bottom truth with you guys to make sure that you understand it's so important to be able to work with somebody that knows what they're doing, that specializes in this. And I recommend working with Select Insurance Group. Select Insurance Group is licensed in 47 states, and they have access to multiple different systems, been in the business for over 20 years, and Select Insurance Group is where it's at. We know what we're doing. We'll make sure that you have a positive experience. So if you have a chance, please leave us a comment, a recommendation, an experience that you maybe had with working with Select Insurance Group, and we appreciate your time. Thanks again.